This is the shop where we work on my cars.
Welcome back to Christina's Garage, Gearhead in Training. Today I'm in Rancho Cordova and going to do a shop/office tour of Oyler Insurance. Several months ago I visited the Good Guys show in Pleasanton and met Dave Oyler there. And this is a really cool follow-up to learn more about his story and do like a behind the scenes to see what they do to provide good collector car insurance.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Welcome to Oyler Insurance.
I'm so excited to do this because we had talked after doing, filming our first intro of meeting each other. And
at Good Guys, when it rained.
I forgot that it rained.
Oh, it rained like cats and dogs that time.
Yeah. So this is a perfect way for people to see behind the scenes because I will be needing collector car insurance myself. And
yay, a new client.
Eventually, when I'm able to drive it, then I'll be able to upgrade in that insurance. Right. And I know that people want to know who are they dealing with, build that trust, and
right.
Hearing your background story I think is super important so that people can understand where you're coming from and how you got into it.
All right. How about we do a quick little walk of the office? So up front here we have the personal lines department. We're missing a couple people today, but we have Monica who assists our personal lines manager. We have Amy back here in the office. She is our personal lines manager, so that means auto and home and life insurance and that type of stuff. We're missing a couple of people. We have a new person starting shortly. And then we have my wife who works on the brokerage side. Oyler Insurance is 2 companies and a third one starting, but we're a big farmers insurance agency, one of the biggest in the nation, and I've been, as you know, with farmers for March will be 40 years. So Deb's out today. She's on her way to an appointment in San Francisco, but she helps run the company that deals with policies that don't fit with farmers insurance. And one of those is obviously the collector car, and we deal a lot with Haggerty and Grundy. We can talk about that too. And I need to talk to you about project car insurance also. And then we got Wendy in here, but Wendy works on commercial insurance with me for policies that fit with farmers insurance. So we do a lot of business insurance, and that's mainly what I focus on. And then it's a big office. So we have another lady who helps us with benefits insurance, group health, dental, optical, all that type of stuff. So we sell a lot of business insurance, and it's a natural progression then to help them with their benefits for themselves and their employees. And then we've got a nice conference room in the back where we could do client meetings. If they want to get together, it's big enough to do a group. And then we have some festivities for the staff here too. We do a potluck the day before Thanksgiving, where everybody comes and does that, and that's been going on for, I think, 35 years I've done that, and cooked the same dish for 35 years. Bill is coming in shortly. Bill works in this office, helps with the outside commercial stuff that doesn't fit with farmers insurance. Not so much the collector car stuff. That's Amy and Deb and I doing that. But Bill does more so commercial policies, business owner policies, apartment buildings. We get a lot of stuff up in the fire area that's people are having challenges with, and we can do commercial fair plan and also personalized fair plans for homes. So he helps with that. This office is vacant, so it's my car parts spare. A few of the special car parts get stored in here to make sure they're safe. And then this is my office. This is where I'm running the companies, and I focus on business insurance, life insurance, and collector car insurance too. And we play a little music once in a while too. I'm a bad guitar player, but a pretty decent ukulele player. I've been playing for most of 20 years, so I'm pretty decent at ukulele. And I was just at the big car show in Woodland, C10 Intervention. I have my Blazer, which you're going to see here in a minute. And big fun in Woodland, hanging out with all the truck people. And the real fun is kind of in the parking lot in between the cruise and the show, just hanging out with car people, hanging around their trucks, and I played and sang, and we had a good old time. This is the shop where we work on my cars, and I've got a friend who you'll see here in a minute, Ben Giske, who's a great mechanic. I'm a decent mechanic, but Ben is an expert at it, been doing it for years and years, and it's a side gig for him. He works at Winco, but on the side he comes here and helps me. We restored this Blazer. When we first got it, it was a roller. It's a factory two-wheel drive, which I'd been looking for. I had a little 68 Chevy truck that I got T-boned in and hurt pretty seriously. It happened just down the road, so there was a spot on the road that I wouldn't drive by for, well, I'm still not driving by that spot. It's been 4 or 5 years now since that happened. But I got T-boned. It totaled the truck, put me in the hospital, and it was a 68, so it had this front sheet metal group. And my son and I loved it. We called it the little green truck. And that was the beginning then of this build, was looking for something to replace it. There was a Chevy truck, and I'm a convertible nut, so a Blazer is a natural progression, and the combining of those two things, a convertible and a truck that was made from Chevrolet. This one's a factory two-wheel drive, so they're more rare than a Nomad. They didn't make many of these. So when we found this one, it was pretty ugly. It had some rust issues we had to repair, and it had no motor at all. So we brought it in here and started working on the mechanics of it. I found a Camaro motor in the wrecking yards right down the street here. There's a whole bunch of wrecking yards. And so this is it's an L99, but for people that aren't into LSs, I just say it's an LS3. It helps them understand. It's a 6.2 aluminum block that we put a Texas speed cam and changed some things on it, the variable valve timing, the displacement on demand. We got rid of all that stuff so we can make it more performance. And it's pushing about 500 horse, and it's mated to the transmission that came with it out of the Camaro, a 6-speed automatic. And it took us 2 years to build, and then we showed it at Autorama for the first time 2 years ago. So we found this one about 4.5 years ago, took 2 years to build, and then it won first place in its class at Autorama. So there's a big trophy next door that this thing won. So these were out of a modern High Country Chevy truck, which is the highest trim package that they had. And then we put the old school Highlander plaid on it to kind of combine the best of old and new and create something that Chevrolet didn't actually make. So that's why I call this one 68 Imagined. They didn't make Blazers till 69, but this one has the 68 sheet metal that came off of that wrecked truck. So, and I imagined it the way I would build it. So the LS motor, the 6-speed, the old school looking trim, but with all the modern conveniences, you know, heated seats and that type of stuff. Put all the nice Willwood brakes. We're putting on coilovers right now. So it's got QA1, which is the best suspension, and we're putting on coilovers in the back. We've already put the coilovers on the front.
With having the shop with cars here, is it just to showcase that you love cars and everything like that on top of the insurance? Like, is there?
No, this is, I don't usually bring people over here. This is just for Ben and I to work on cars. We've got this one's a finished project. We've got a project we're in the middle of. I can show you. It's a 41 Chevy truck with an S10 chassis that we've found and stripped and repainted. Put a new modern LS motor in it, and it's got a 4-speed overdrive. You can see that in the back if we take a walk. We're working on the cab right now on that one. And then there's another project over in the corner, a 39 Chevy Suburban. So you want to walk and look at those things?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So, and Ben, who's hiding in the back that I mentioned earlier, is doing that for us right now. So this is Ben. Say hi, Ben.
Hi, Ben.
So this is the 41 Chevy that we're working on. And you can see we had Ron Pepper with Pepper Fabrication, who is my go-to guy for metal work. He's an artist when it comes to metal. And when you're restoring an old car, invariably there's going to be some rust in them. And that scares off a lot of people that don't know Ron Pepper. But Ron Pepper can bring it back. You can see he built these beautiful floorboards for us. Flatten the firewall, put a beautiful flat. Usually the firewalls have all these ridges and holes that have been plugged in them for over the years, and Ron cleaned all that up, made it nice and flat. But we're still going to leave it as a patina truck. So we're not going to completely repaint this one like the Blazer is. The Blazer is so pretty, I worry about where I'm going to take it. This one, we're going to leave it patina, but it'll drive like a new vehicle, and I'll be able to drive it to Safeway if I want. So here's the chassis that we built for it. It didn't come with this chassis. This is out of a Chevy S10. So it gives it modern suspension. The original truck would have had straight axle and drum brakes, and this has independent suspension, disc brakes, and you can see the LS motor that's sitting there with that 4-speed. So this is pretty much ready to go. We just need a drive line, which we'll use SAC drive line to build a drive shaft for us to finish that part of it. That's about all that's left. It's wired, it's ready to go, and we'll, as soon as we touch up the cab and the bed a little bit, we'll be putting it back together. And then this is the next project, if we do it. Not sure if we really want to do it or not, but it's super cool. It's a 39 Chevy Suburban, so very rare, and a lot of people know that Chevy Suburban is the longest running brand of a style of car that's ever existed. Other people have called their vehicles Suburbans too. Plymouth had one. I think there was a couple other companies, but Chevy's version has been the longest running most years.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That
So
is
this
so
one's
cool.
super cool because a Suburban is a 2-door and very rare. The first year was 1935 for those, and this one has all the seat frames and has virtually all the little pieces that you need to build one of these. So when we finish this one, then we're going to take a hard look at that one and see if we really want to do it. We would probably do the same thing and get a modern suspension and put it. But you asked me, do I do this to showcase? No, I do it because I'm a car guy at heart. I'm an old insurance guy, been in the business almost 40 years, but I'm a car guy, so I love playing with cars. So the natural progression was to be, you know, a reference point for other car collectors to get information about collector car insurance, and to you know, have a resource for them to come to. It doesn't cost you any more to have an insurance broker as opposed to going direct to Haggerty and Grundy, which people can do, but navigating all the rules and getting all the information to them to successfully get a policy, and bypassing some of the pitfalls that could happen to a person that would stop them from being able to get an insurance policy is all avoided when you go through a broker. So it doesn't cost them any more, and then they get me the advice, my team, the support, and if they have a claim, I think it's really good to have an insurance broker.
You mentioned you got into classic cars because of your brother.
Yeah. Sorry, I get a little emotional just thinking about him. He was my big brother. He was senior class president, captain of the football team in a little town south of Chico, Durham. And he was a car guy. And I'm a car guy because he was a car guy. He had, I don't know, probably 50 or 75 cars. He was a real flipper, would have a car for a while like a lot of car guys, get tired of it, see something better and trade up for it. But he had a lot of different cars, but the ones I remember in particular is he had bubble tops, Chevy bubble tops. So the 61, 62 Chevy bubble tops are one of my favorites because of him. He was also a Pontiac guy, loved GTOs, in particular loved, I'm blanking on the name of the one style that he really liked, and he actually never owned one of those with all the cars. So when he got cancer, I was out scouring the United States for the car he wanted. It was a, Grand Prix. A 1965 in particular, Grand Prix with 8 lug wheels and the vacuum gauge that sat on the center console. So there was something very special he was looking for and never got. And I was, in the end, when he was dying, looking for it. Couldn't find it. Sorry, you can edit all this out.
No, I think this is really great because I relate with this so much because of my dad. And the only reason why I got into this, I never would have purchased a classic car on my own. I never would be taking this journey. And there's so many other people that have emotional ties and why they get into classic cars. Because at the end of the day, the car is a car. What makes it special is that emotional attachment. Like it's something you enjoy. Also, like you're keeping their legacy alive, you know?
Yeah.
And that's cool.
There's a visual and a visceral thing about classic cars if that's in your blood. if you had that family members that had them, that they had a passion. A lot of times then it's passed to people like it was to me from my brother, you from your dad. And seeing the cars, you know, is enjoyable. So I have a funny little thing that in my house, at my house, I have a car lift and I keep a couple cars there. And I like to put these clear, cheap car covers on them. And I was taught to me by a car buddy, and he says, I like to see my cars. When you put a regular, nice, soft cloth, it blocks it. You can't see what it's underneath. So a lot of times I use these cheap, clear car covers so I can still see my cars and they're still protected. So we uncovered everything because you were coming today, but when you leave, we'll cover this one, and especially the Blazer, we'll cover it back up. But back at the house, the cars that are there are also, you know, covered with these cheap car covers, just so that I can walk out and see them. And then the visceral part is when you get behind the wheel, start that motor up, hear the exhaust, feel the vibrations, drive down the road, feel the power. That's a memory that, you know, maybe you had when you were young and just starting to learn how to drive. And for me, it's making new memories too, especially with my son. So
there's so much beauty to that, and
yeah.
I'm really excited for this whole journey, because I wouldn't be here talking to you if my dad hadn't passed away. You know, it really sucks.
Yeah.
It really sucks what happened. I am grateful for the opportunity to create my own legacy and carry on his. And like every time I'm out here doing this, I just want to call him and be like, hey, this is what I did today.
I know that feeling.
And you know, like there's so many other people that experience grief in so many different variances. And I am inspired by people like yourself and other individuals that get out there and continue their legacy and carry their memory
Right.
as we move forward. Like it's not a move on thing, it's we move forward in their memory and continue to make new memories. And I'm so grateful for you to have me here and to show me around this beautiful shop. And
it's not beautiful, but thank you.
Honestly,
if you
like
like
I'm
cars,
like, oh, yeah, for
if you
me.
like building cars, I guess it is. But for most people, they say this is a mess. You know?
No, I'm like, okay, well that door is really cool. I like that you have a lift, like you actually have space. Like now
Yeah.
that I have a classic car, I see things through a different lens now that my husband might not be so happy about me wanting to, you know, like add all these things, maybe buy another property with a garage later on.
Yeah.
Still, I really appreciate you taking the time.
My
Thank
pleasure.
you so much. And
Sorry to get so emotional.
emotions aren't a bad thing. And I think normalizing being able to express how we feel, because even through words, just words, the actual expression of the meaning, like I can see how much your brother meant to you based on your expression.
Right.
And there's so many other people that feel that way, and you know, being able to express is something that's super important for us as human beings.
Right.
And I really appreciate that you were willing to share.
Right.
And you know, I'm not trying to do this as a super, like this is how we act and you know, let's go super scripted. And I want to show real people,
Right.
real experiences, because
Right.
we're all just people, you know.
Right.
And so I really, really appreciate that, and setting a really good example to show people like, hey, this is what you can do. You
Right.
know, what do you have at your fingertips? What experiences do you have that you can carry forward? And I'm not going to do insurance. You can do insurance. I'm
Right.
doing YouTube. We all have different things that we can bring to
Right.
the table.
Right.
And it's really inspiring to see what you're doing. And I look forward to working with you more so in the future.
I'm excited to be your insurance person.
It's
Yeah.
awesome.
And anybody else that needs help, you know, they can find us at oylerinsurance.com. That's OYLER insurance.com. Or they can call 916-635-0444. Amy, who we introduced a little while ago, is also an expert at collector car insurance and all types of personal lines insurance. And business insurance would be me, or collector car me also.
So you can get everything together. It's
Yes.
not just
Yeah.
classic or
yeah,
collector
we can
car.
do everything here.
That's awesome.
All insurance stuff, right.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. Again, I'm going to put in the caption all the information, so if you want to connect with Dave and see what they have to offer and see if it matches up with your needs, you can definitely check that out. You guys are awesome. Have a good day. See you next week.
Bye.